Hands up anyone watching this interview that has heard of Kim Kardashian. Okay, that's just about everyone. Hands up who hasn't heard of Miss Kardashian. Just the one then. Isn't it extraordinary? We can all name famous historical figures: Winston Churchill, John Lennon, Andy Warhol, J.K. Rowling, all famous for being great at their chosen profession. Yet, Kim Kardashian? What's her chosen profession? Being Kim Kardashian, maybe? Well, next up on the LitFest channel is an author who might be able to assist in unravelling the mystery. He's Jeetendr Sehdev, described by one reviewer as the world's leading authority on celebrity branding. And the title of his first, but I suspect not his last book, is The Kim Kardashian Principle. Jeetendr, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Emirates. And we're used to seeing the name Kim Kardashian pop up on newspapers and magazines.
Yes.
But now
Yes.
she's in a book, The Kim Kardashian Principle.
She is
Let me show it to everybody.
KKP.
Hey, well done. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Love the cover. So
Thank you.
it's also a New York Times bestseller, so that's pretty good too.
Really
Tell us
excited
about
by
the
that.
book. What prompted you to write it?
You know, I was just at a place in my life that I really wanted to inspire people to be brave and fearless, and to, you know, really have the confidence and the inner conviction to pursue their dreams and to live the lives that they wanted to live on their terms. And I think that's what the Kim Kardashian Principle is very much about. It's about, you know, focusing on what you believe and what you want to create. And I think that I sort of got that inspiration from my move from the United Kingdom, as you know very well, Steve, to Los Angeles, where I saw a very different culture and sort of very different rules and different options. And I just found that very liberating and freeing, and I wanted to share that with people.
How has the Kim Kardashian proposition, how's the principle come about? I mean, 10 years ago, nobody had ever heard of her. Now she's on everybody's lips. You open magazines, newspapers, and there she is. Not just Kim herself, but her whole family. What's brought it about?
You know, I think what's brought about Kim's success has very much been this thing called social media. You might have heard of it.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it has allowed, it has democratized fame. It has allowed people to build their own platforms, to build their own fan bases, to put out their own content. And before that wasn't allowed, before that was reserved for studios, movie studios to decide, or record labels to decide who they were going to make famous. And then suddenly Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, they all came along, and people were like, hold on, wait a second, I can actually do that myself. I don't need that middleman. So I think that was very much the catalyst behind a celebrity like Kim Kardashian's success.
So what are some of the areas that you delve into in the book?
Yes. So there are 6 new rules to break through and be successful like Kim Kardashian today. And I use an acronym in the book called Selfie. SELFIE. And those rules are very counterintuitive. So they're things that are sort of opposite to what we've been taught for years. You know, one of them is around owning what is unique about you. So for years we've been told to be less of who we are in order to fit in. But the people who are breaking through today are actually being more of who they are, and they're owning their uniqueness and amplifying it in order to break through. You know, Kim did that very well with her Armenian heritage. She did that with, you know, her unique image and the way she looks. You know, another rule is about not aiming for perfection, but aiming for imperfection. So, you know, concepts of perfection are sort of very dated now, and nobody really believes anyone is perfect. And if you aim for imperfection and own your vulnerabilities and own your humanness, that's actually going to make you more relatable to people. So it's sort of counterintuitive ideas like that.
You say in the book that there's probably 1 billion selfies posted online every day. Are they just a bit of harmless fun, or is there more to it than that?
No, I think that selfies can be incredibly self-expressive. You know, they can allow people to very much champion themselves and feel good about themselves. There's a lot of inner confidence building that comes from taking selfies and posting them out there. And it's great to hear the stories of how people, you know, a lot of these, you know, a lot of these people who are on Instagram now, you know, you hear stories about why they were posting selfies throughout these years, because they were actually building up their self-esteem. So I think there's a real positive side to it. I do also think that spending too much time on any sort of medium, whether that be social media or anywhere else, might well not be a good idea. I mean, we're seeing research reports and studies potentially linking together lower mental health quality issues with time spent on social media. I think that's like anything else. So I think if you were to watch, excess amounts of television, you would probably not be a very happy person either. So I think everything within moderation, absolutely. But, people, young kids are building massive businesses on social media, and they're building their customer base, and they're becoming incredibly creative entrepreneurs and artistic entrepreneurs. It requires a skill to put out great content and take a great selfie, believe it or not. It's not just a matter of, I think Kim Kardashian says she takes hundreds, if not thousands of selfies before she posts one of them. So, this is a new type of skill we're seeing coming into the marketplace.
And of course, on this Emirates flight that we're talking on today, a few years back, they've introduced Wi-Fi, they've introduced the ability to use your mobile phone on board.
Yeah.
So we've seen quite recently the whole phenomenon of people taking selfies. Hey, I'm on an Emirates A380 flying to Los Angeles. Yeah. Look at me.
But it's an Emirates A380, so who wouldn't want to take a selfie on that?
Well,
and especially in the bathrooms and everywhere else. It's a beautiful plane, so there we have it.
Yeah, you've obviously seen the bathrooms.
Absolutely.
Yes, they're pretty cool, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, social media, of course, we all use it, we all come across it, and in various degrees, but ultimately it's owned by big business. It's owned by the Facebooks of this world and the Googles and so on and so forth. Are you ever concerned about the amount of data that is being collected behind the scenes and what use that data is being used for?
No, absolutely. I was in a retail store actually the other day in London, and they asked me for my information. I was like, you know what, I actually don't feel comfortable giving it, besides my credit card to actually pay for the purchase. And I do think that data privacy and how data is being used is only going to become an increasingly hot topic. People are fully aware now that larger companies are taking this data and they're selling this data, and they're doing all sorts of different things in order to predict who you are, what you see, and influence your mind. So for me, it's a big concern, but I've really cut back on the forms that I fill out and how readily I give out my information.
How's the advertising industry adapted to social media?
So the advertising industry is a creative industry. So by the DNA and nature of the industry, they are well suited to constantly keep adapting to the new realm. But obviously it's a challenge. Like, we're seeing a lot less people watching television commercials now. TV commercials for some larger ad agencies are still a massive stream of revenue. We are seeing it takes time for brands to readjust their budgets and invest more and more in social media. But I think, they're moving and they're changing, and they'll change alongside their clients. So,
do they see it as a way of reaching the younger generation?
Absolutely. Social media is not only a way of reaching the younger generation, it's also a way of tracking how much money you've spent and what you're getting back. So that's a little harder to do when you've created a TV commercial, because you're not really sure, or you've created a billboard, because you're not really sure who's watched it and how many of those people who saw that actually went and purchased your product. But the great thing about social media is that you can actually use a hashtag and you can track how far your message has traveled within the ecosystem of the social media platform, and then accordingly you can decide to invest and so forth. So yeah, it's a good thing.
So for you, how important is social media in the development of your career as a journalist, as an author? Here you are, you've got this new book out, The Kim Kardashian Principle. It's in good old-fashioned paper, rather than online. But is social media important for you to spread the word, to get the word out on the streets about the book?
Absolutely. We're social mediating this right now, as you know. I think it's really important for me to be immersed in, the mindset of younger generations, because social media isn't just something you do, it's something you are. It's just an extension of your reality. And I think you don't really understand how to use social media fully until you are completely immersed in it. And I think it's also, you know, once again, going back to the whole sort of premise of my book being about, you know, freedom of expression, you know, going out there, creating your own fan bases, not relying on others, relying on yourself. I think that social media feeds into that because it allows you to create, you know, your own audience and your own platform. And that's something that other mediums, you know, might not necessarily provide you with the benefit of.
One question I must ask you
Yes.
before we finish, Jeetendr. Have you actually met Kim Kardashian?
You'll have to read the book for that one.
I have read it, but obviously not got to that particular part.
You'll have to read the book for that one. I'm going to leave a cliffhanger on that one.
Yeah.
But I was very excited when she chose to social media my book. It was very kind of her. Yeah. And I did thank her in the acknowledgements. But that's all I'm saying, Steve.
Now,
the answer's in the book.
The answer's in the book. Just incidentally, looking back over history,
yes.
Before the age of social media, it seems we've had social media forever, but there was a time, believe it or not, when there weren't such things as smartphones and the like.
Yeah.
Has anybody else sort of attained the same kind of cult status that Kim Kardashian has?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the book, you know, I draw upon so many different examples from history, from science, from pop culture, from art. And, you know, I talk about, you know, Madame X, Émile Gautreau from France, who was painted and caused an absolute scandalous outcry because she had a strapless shoulder in 19th century France. I talk about Josephine Baker, who was the first black superstar. So there are lots of change makers, rule breakers, pioneers who have really busted social norms in order to sort of show us a new way of living and being. And they've all been very inspirational.
So if social media had been around at the time of Josephine Baker, she'd have been on there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure. And you know, I was saying the other day, if social media was around, if TikTok was around when Martin Luther King was around, he would have been on it too.
Jeetendr, it's been brilliant talking to you. I really enjoyed it. It's been great fun too, which is always good. If you're fascinated by Kim Kardashian and you're fascinated by social media, this is definitely the book to get, The Kim Kardashian Principle. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us today here on Emirates.
Thank you for having me.